thank you all so very, very much for joining us today. Let me just say a few words about John. John's a real humble kind of guy. When I first got here, John wasn't bashful at all about coming up and talking with me and sharing with me a story, a fabulous story about the Lee College Honors Program. It's amazing. And I've had a chance to sit in on a couple of classes. In fact, John, I don't know what it is about you, but our granddaughter, Mercedes, whom you know very well, loves you dearly. And she told me when we were on campus one day, she was touring Lee College as a part of her high school class, and she said, "I want to go see John Britt." And you remember that day, John, because we went by and peeked in your door there, and you were teaching a class, and you invited us in, and first thing she did is give you a hug. John's a huggable kind of guy. He's just such a special, special person. And today is his day, and we're going to recognize him this morning. And your being here today, I can't tell you in his heart how much that means to him, because my heart's, pitter-pattering a little bit because of this, the reason that we have joined together. And I know some of you out there have been students, some of you have been as colleagues, but every one of us has been his friend, and he has been ours. And so today is just in Lee College's fabulous history, very, very special occasion. And you're going to hear today from some individuals who have had some very exciting opportunities over the years to be a part of John Britt's life. But more importantly, he has been a part of their lives. And it's my pleasure at this time to introduce one of his former students. This individual is someone that I've actually had the pleasure of interacting with a number of times over the years because she works at Barbers Hill School District, and we have been collaborating on projects, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of that. And I'll tell you that Laura Costa, I can tell why she's doing such a fabulous job in her position at Barbers Hill. I can see John Britt. I can see the mark that he has made on Laura. And John, you got a great student. You got a lot of great students, but Laura has been a pleasure to be a partner with. And at this time, I'd like to bring up for Laura to share with you a little bit about her experiences with John. Laura Acosta.
Well, good morning. And for those of you that are literate in John Britt speak, what you know. I would like to thank Lee College for giving me the opportunity to speak about one of my favorite topics, and that is John Britt and the Honors Program. When I arrived at Lee College, I'll admit I was a very defeated 22-year-old. I was returning to school after staying home for a few years to be a stay-at-home mother, and I was full of doubt and guilt. Doubt that I could be successful in the classroom, guilt that I was leaving my child with sitters so that I could pursue an education. I knew it was best for both of us, but it was a really difficult time. A kind English instructor, Mr. Smith, suggested that I meet with John Britt and secure my place in the honors program. And I owe that gentleman a debt of gratitude as well for literally pushing me through that door to keep an appointment with Mr. Britt. It's hard to believe that I considered not going to a meeting that would change my life. I entered the program, and I quickly found my peers and my lifelong friends. The coursework was challenging. I shed a few tears for lack of sleep, to get assignments in on time, only to have them handed back for a rewrite or two. I know I turned in a paper with my son's Cheeto orange handprints, and he never said a word. It was in that safe place of thought and creation that I found my passion for education and activism. And Mr. Britt, I know I've never thanked you for this, but I want to thank you for teaching the horrible, ugly, and sometimes wonderful truth. And if you know John Britt, you know he's a troublemaker. He's a champion of women, non-traditional students, student inmates, and generally any underdog that he can find or that finds him. He not only ignites the mind, he ignites the human spirit. And as one of his students, I couldn't wait to be just like him. Last year, I helped organize a caravan to take banned books back to Tucson Unified School District and to protest a law that banned Mexican American studies. We call ourselves the Librotraficantes, and while we have our different motivations for creating the caravan, it was the time that I spent in an interdisciplinary learning environment that cemented my love of literature and my thirst and my hunger to understand history. I understood that the laws that Arizona were passing and the national response was history in the making. And I had to speak to John several times before I left on this journey. And he approved, of course, and cheered and rallied me on. I will never forget the moment when a group of us, when we were walking up to the Alamo, our first stop on the journey to Arizona, we were hosting a press conference. We were told that Mayor Castro was on the way. We were extremely nervous. And in this sea of people around me, I look up and I see the friendliest of faces, John Britt. He brought Donna and the grandchildren to see us. He presented us with a campesino hat. It's the hat from Cesar Chavez days, the hat of the farm worker. These hats are symbolic of the struggle that was brought to the forefront by the migrant farm workers. And this is a reminder to us that the struggle still continues. All of the Librotraficantes are grandchildren or children of migrant farm workers. So that is a gift that touched us more than he could ever know. Life takes you on many different and strange paths, and this teacher, mentor, friend has never left me, stopped teaching or encouraging me. In the that just occurred to me this morning, 20 years that I have known him. As students enter this building this fall, with a building that now bears his name, to take social science courses, I hope that they think, they feel, they create, and they commit to action, just like my hero, John Britt.
I sure wish I didn't have to follow that. It is good to be home. That's the only way I can put it, is home. Once you leave here and you go to the big college and you step out like a big girl and you come home, it's like nothing ever takes the place of Lee College. And once you leave, you'll realize that. And one of the things that makes Lee College such a home is the honors department in John Britt. And you're going to get tired of us hearing this, and I know, Dr. Brown, you said it correctly, that he does not like to take credit where credit is due. And today is your day, and I hope that you enjoy it and sit back and let us compliment you and let us tell you how much that we appreciate what you've done. I'm so glad that Lee College has decided to do this, because over the 3-year period that I was here, Cheryl and I and several other students tried so hard to get something that we wanted to get done, because we knew it was getting time for him to retire, and we knew that he was going to be leaving, and we said something needs to be done, because the honors program and Mr. Britt has made what we consider Lee College. It did make my life, it did change my life, and my instructor, Howard Broussard, I wrote a paper one time and he said, you know what, Lynn, I think maybe you're a good candidate for honors program. And like Laura, having gone through a divorce and a family death, I was very insecure and didn't feel that intelligent, thought that, wow, you got to be really up there to get there. And again, as she said, you walk into John Britt's office and with all the books scattered everywhere and him looking for his papers, well, I got that paper over here somewhere. I'm sure I got your name somewhere. Now, who sent you? Calling for the secretary, do you have that paper? And so I just pulled out the paper, because I had one too, and said, here, I think this is what you need. And we did that for the next 3 years, didn't we? But I guess the best compliment that I can give you, Mr. Britt, is that at my college that I'm at now, the university, I do not struggle near as much as most students. I watch the students and I watch them struggling with their writing experiences, and even though we spent many nights up till 2 o'clock in the morning, didn't we, Cheryl? Recorrecting, it was worth it, because when you go on, you realize that what you learned is so important in your life now. And I hope, as I said, that you will sit back and let us compliment you and give you what you deserve today. Irvin Yolande wrote a New York bestseller, and it was called Staring at the Sun. I don't know if any one of you have read it, but in his book he describes how one can live on in others. The concentration of his book is overcoming the terror of death. So he talks about how his fear of death is that, will he live on? And how can he live on in others? He describes how you can live on in others, and he calls his theory the rippling effect. And he states, I find great satisfaction in passing something of myself into the future. Well, I think that John Britt's been a great example of this creed. There's been students over the last 40 years who've had the pleasure of spending time with him and letting him pour into their life. Through his knowledge of almost every historical event since the creation of time, up to all of the ornery tricks that him and Dr. Adams did to people, there's never a dull moment when you're in his class. And I had much enjoyment. Other than just learning, I really enjoyed it. When I was in 8th grade, I remember years and centuries ago that I did not like history. When I came to John Britt's class, I decided that I did like history, that there was a little more to it than what I had been taught. I enjoyed the way that Mr. Britt presented it. I loved the way that he was passionate about it, and he passed his passion on to me, and I appreciate that. Because of your example, Mr. Britt, the university that I'm at today, we are supposed to form some sort of community project. And although this has been a heartthrob of mine for years, John Britt helped me to put it into perspective as far as education goes. I'd always not been a very good student. I never felt, as I said before, that I could thrive. And with, because of Mr. Britt's time and also a lot of the other instructors at Lee College, it was different for me this time, and I realized how different education can be if you have an instructor that gives of his time. I watched Mr. Britt travel. I watched him listen to many, many speeches. I watched him sit for hours listening to what I considered just this type of thing from a student. And he did it with passion. He did it because he loved putting into his students. So I think that you're one of the best examples there are of how to ripple your life. So because of what you have done in my life, the program that I am putting together at my university is a scholarship program for women of my age that want to pursue a higher education. In this education, they are going to be in honors, and they have to have a higher GPA, because I realized that someone that was a BC student, if you are pushed and if your talent is recognized, then you can become an honors student. And I appreciate that so much. I appreciate the fact that you have made me appreciate education and understand it and love it. And I thank you so much for it. I challenge most of you today that the best compliment that you can give someone is to pass on what they have given you to someone else. Adopt Yolam's creed. Ripple the best of yourself into someone else's life. And I think that you'll see that life will change for you. It has for me, and I thank you very much, Mr. Britt.
This is a wonderful day, and it's all about John. And yes, he did have a few male students in his class. We may not have gotten as much attention, but we were there too. And yes, I did meet my wife in his class in the fall of, or the spring of 1975, which was 38 years ago. And I remember that class. It was Western Civilization. And this, you know, I read this article about all of this in the Baytown Sun this morning. And one of the things that the reporter referred to John as is he's a cool guy. Now, I don't know if John always considered himself a cool guy, but I remember the beard, the voice, and him sitting on one of the student desks teaching the class in a, a very professorial way. Academics is a very elitist activity, and certain disciplines think that their subject area is more important than others. And John ran around with English instructors and science instructors, philosophy instructors, and John just taught history. And so I felt like sometimes that they didn't give John his due, because after all, history's already happened. It doesn't change anybody's life. Nobody's going to go and do great things because of history. Well, John proved them wrong, because what John did by his teaching history is he taught people how to research. He taught people how to write history that hadn't been written yet. If he's got a specialty, I think it is the inspiring people to write history that has not yet been written. There have been dozens and dozens of articles written by his former students about areas of history that had never been studied before. And his contribution to this institution is immeasurable. I don't want people to think that we're naming a building after John because he managed to hang around for 47 years. That's not it, okay? It's not like the baseball player that never missed a game, and so we put him in the Hall of Fame. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because of the impact that John has made and continues to make on the lives of so many people. He has a knack for identifying talent in people. He has a knack for inspiring them to do things that they had no idea they could do. He's been so valuable to this institution, and he will be impossible to replace. We have buildings on campus named for people: Bonner Hall, Moeller Hall, Rundell Hall. And the difference between those halls and this hall is they're all dead, John. But we didn't want to wait that long. And I thought that the most wonderful thing we could do for John is to name the building after him that he has worked in all these many years and contributed so much to this college. And it's a very small token to show our appreciation of a great, great man. And we thank you, John.
Oh, thank you, Judge Coffey. You're welcome. I appreciate it so much. Let me say this. You know, I can't help but think of a situation where Lyndon Johnson got a very flowering introduction one time, and he went to the podium to speak, and he said, "I wish my mother and father had been here to hear this. My father would have liked it, and my mother would have believed it." You know, and let me point out that that the reason I've had some modicum of success here at Lee College is because of the team here. Our honors program has gotten incredible support. I have colleagues and friends at major universities that envy the support in the situation that I have here at Lee College, beginning with the Board of Regents, of course. And this is what happens if you live long enough. 3 members of the Board of Regents, Judge Coffey, Susan Moore Fontenot, Dr. Colburn, have been my students. And because of that, whenever I talk to future teachers, and I'm asked to do that occasionally, I say, every time you go in that classroom, you better give it your best shot, because your future boss may be in there. You know. Like I said, Lee College, the support they've given the honors program, and the honors program is a team. It's not just me. We've got some great teachers in the honors program. Dr. Gordon Lee and Miss Georgianne Ward, who teach the human condition class. Dr. Lee, as we speak, is in La Crosse, Wisconsin, at the University of Wisconsin with one of our students, one of our honor students, who's giving his seminar paper at the National Council for Undergraduate Research. Joe Ganakis, who teaches an honors speech class. Dr. Showalter, who teaches an honors government class. And my dear friend and old friend, Dr. Dale Adams, who teaches an incredible honors course in the history and development of motion pictures. And I need to mention my teaching partner, Kathleen Signar. She is not here today because she's teaching this very creative course called Humanities on the Go, where she takes her students into Houston to some cultural art venue every Friday. And she'll be here tonight because I think they're planning on gigging me pretty bad, you know. But anyway, like I said, it's a team. I see Coach Champagne back there, and you know about our basketball team this year. Won the regionals, and then went to the nationals. And we are so proud of them. And I've made this statement before. This is what makes a college: an athletic program, an honors program, a fine arts program, a humanities program, and so on. That's what makes a college a college. And I also need to point out the tremendous support we get from the communities. We've got two people in the audience who were in my very first honors class. Miss Janice Coffey over here, Judge Coffey's wife, and Wayne Coker Jr., where are you? There you are. And of course, I need to mention my family, my wife up here in the front, my two daughters, my grandchildren, and so on. They are so much a part of it. Now, I want to brag on my wife and I. You mind if I do that? We are a team. Get this, we're the only couple to ever receive the Leadership and Education Award from the Texas State Historical Association. And my wife, Donna, was only the second public school teacher to ever get it. It usually goes to college and university professors. When I got it, I got a check for $900. When she got it, she got a check for $5,000. You know. And anyway, we're also the only couple to get the Otis Locke Award from the East Texas Historical Association, and also the David DeBow Award from the Texas State Historical Association. And we really are a team. We're both on the Education Committee of the State Historical Association. I really appreciate all of this. When Dr. Showalter, he's my department chair, great guy, done a great job of running our department. When I learned the building was going to be named after me, I said, "Steve, I guess I'm going to have to retire now." And he said, "Yeah, that was the idea." Thank you very much.